first play-in game, and myself, as I'm sure all of you, are more than excited. It's been quite the journey, long road, and we're finally here, right? Now you just got to buckle down, get this win, and then go into the Memphis Grizzlies game, right? Lakers, healthy, have all the intangibles, well, as healthy as they will be, have all the tools, have everything they need to get the job done, right? And before this game, the Lakers, handled business against the Utah Jazz, in Minnesota handled business against the Pelicans, but Minnesota also imploded during that game, and there was a lot of questions with Rudy Gobert, right? As well as, Jaden McDaniels, all of those things. Well, we got our answers today. So Rudy, for those that don't know, I don't know how many people that is, but just in case, Rudy decided it was a good idea to punch Kyle Anderson and thus warranted a suspension. Now, it looked like Minnesota sent him home in the hopes that, hey, that could be a suspension, but it looks like they ended up suspending him for the play-in game against the Lakers. Now, if they win, then, no big deal. Rudy will probably be back for the first game of the playoffs, right? If they lose, I imagine he's back for that Pelicans or OKC matchup. I don't see them riding the entire play-in without him. But it'll be interesting, right? I'm curious to see how that plays out. And who knows, maybe the Timberwolves, maybe they're looking at it as hey, we would rather play Denver than playing Memphis. That's something very interesting too, because look, the Minnesota Timberwolves match up against Denver very well, right? With size and just the switchability and all that stuff. So could be an interesting matchup, but regardless, whatever it means, it's a break for the Lakers, right? No Rudy Gobert, no Jaden McDaniels, and then Reid also ended up being out. So that makes the Minnesota Timberwolves extremely small. Cant is basically their only real 7-footer. They have a couple other guys on the roster that are rookies and stuff, but I don't know if they're even going to see the court, maybe. But reality is they'll probably play Cant 40 plus minutes, and everyone else kind of trickle in around that. They're going to have to play their starters extremely heavy minutes, right? I'm not saying that they're going to play all 48 minutes because you got to get guys some rest, but who knows? I mean, they could play very heavy minutes, but that could be good for the Lakers if it is a grindy game, right? Let's say it is getting down to the wire. Minnesota, they don't have the luxury now of having a bunch of guys come in and kind of give, your key guys some rest. No, you're kind of stuck, right? So that's going to be very interesting. When you lose 3 of your, arguably 6 best players, that's a problem for any team. And it just so happened that it happened leading into the play-in game. Again, huge blessing for the Lakers, but we cannot take Minnesota lightly. My guess is that their starting 5 is Conley, Anthony Edwards, Kyle Anderson, Taurean Prince, and Karl Anthony Towns. That starting 5 is a plus 34 when they're on the court together. They have a very small, teeny tiny sample size, but still, it's something worth noting. They're going to be able to spread the floor more. They have a little more switchability as opposed to having Cat at the 4. He's not a good defender regardless, but having to end up getting switched on and stuff, where I feel like this may be more of a luxury for the Timberwolves, but there's no replacing the defensive interior presence of Rudy Gobert and the perimeter presence of Jaden McDaniels, who might arguably be the best perimeter defender in the league and gave LeBron a ton of fits. But it's just something to keep in mind. Karl Anthony Towns, we know he can go off for 30 and 15. Anthony Edwards, we know he can go off for 60. Mike Conley, he was killing us last game, and we know that he's a savvy vet that can put the ball into the hoop. My guess is Darvin Ham dares, Kyle Anderson to shoot the 3 ball a lot. We'll probably live with Karl Anthony Towns shooting the 3 ball, if they want to play out in the perimeter. I would like to see, because that's the big thing, right? That's the big question, is that on offense, they can bring Anthony Davis out of the interior, right? Protecting the rim, so their guys can get to the basket and all that because of Karl Anthony Towns' floor spacing, where when you have Rudy Gobert, you don't have that luxury, right? You can't spread the floor. But And my idea, if that ends up happening and that becomes a problem, then I think immediately you bring Rui in, right? Bring Rui in, and now you solve that. So now on defense, you can have, like, leave Kyle Anderson open. If he's shooting like 41% from three or whatever, but it's on like 26 attempts or something. If he goes off for 10 threes, you live with it, right? But if it was me, I would have Anthony Davis patrolling the paint. You leave Kyle Anderson as the 1 3-point guy, and if he can beat you, let him beat you. And you just guard everybody else, and you put Rui on Karl Anthony Towns, and there you go. Problem solved. Now they can't just run to the hoop. Now, again, that's assuming that becomes a problem. It might not, right? You can kind of live with Karl Anthony Towns shooting the three ball. Yes, he is a great 3-point shooting big man, but that's not his, like, great strengths, right? He's not like some 50% 3-point shooter, some 45% 3-point shooter. Like, he's had moments where he can get hot. He has games where he can get hot. If that happens, you make the adjustment. But if he wants to take 10 threes and he's 2 of 10, let him keep doing it, right? Like, that would be sort of my game plan. Keep it there, keep Anthony Davis in the spy position. If the Cat scenario of him being outside on the perimeter starts becoming a problem, you just simple fix, put Rui in, there you go, right? And now Rui can do that. If it becomes a problem, again, you could have LeBron James step out and guard Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns isn't some big bruiser or anything like that. He's not going to just be taking LeBron James off the dribble, whatever. And then you just let AD play spy. But again, this is a team that can get hot. This is a team that's still, with that starting five, have the potential to be very good, but they are very thin. If this was a 7-game series, the Lakers probably win this in 5, if not a sweep. But, teams get hot. Teams have a good moment. This series is probably over in 5. Without a Rudy Gobert and without a McDaniels and Reid, Lakers handily win that series. But it's one game. You don't have to be the better team, for a series. You just have to be the better team one night. The Lakers could win this type of matchup 9 times out of 10. But if that one time is tomorrow night, then that's a problem for the Lakers, right? But you have to do your job, right? You got to have that urgency. I expect a big game from all 3 of these guys. D'Angelo Russell, this is his revenge game. You guys got rid of me. You guys wanted to ship me out. You guys thought Mike Conley was going to add a little more maturity and all the noise that he heard. Okay, well, now I'm here. And what's funny is D'Angelo Russell was talking all kinds of smack about Rudy Gobert, even while he was on the team. And look, I guess D'Lo was right. But this is a game where he needs to show up, right? They have no rim protection. They have no elite perimeter defenders, right? Now, Prince, he's solid. Anderson, he's solid. But they're not McDaniels. They don't have anybody now that can check LeBron James. I still think LeBron James would have gotten his even against McDaniels. It's one thing for a regular season game. It's another thing for a playoff series or a playoff game. But LeBron James not having to worry about McDaniels and just him, trying to wear LeBron down over a series. Because LeBron is still in year 20, is still 38 years old. I think that's going to be massive for him. And it should be just smooth sailings. Attack Karl Anthony Towns. They have no big men. I would be going after, if you're open, shoot the 3, of course, right? But I want to see Anthony Davis, them dumping the ball down to AD, put Karl Anthony Towns on an island, and try to get him out of the game as soon as possible. Run that pick and roll with LeBron and AD, put Cat on an island against LeBron, and let LeBron go right into his chest and make the refs make a call. That's what I'd be doing all game. Dennis Schroeder, it doesn't look like he's going to play, but if he does, same thing. Schroeder, your job, just go directly at Cat. I don't care if you get blocked every time. I don't care what. You need to go at him. Start getting him into foul trouble early and start taking advantage and capitalizing, right? This is a game that Anthony Davis should feast on. Anthony Davis feasted on Cat and Gobert. Now you just have Cat, who isn't a good defender. Anthony Davis should just dominate that matchup. But again, you can't underestimate these guys. You can't go in there like they're the Utah Jazz or, the Suns game without the starters and all that stuff. Like that can't happen. Can't do that, right? You need to come out and get established, get going early, dominate early. I'm not saying you have to win this game by 20 or 30, but this should be a pretty fair start to finish control type game. They're going to go on runs. It's not a big deal. That's what basketball is. You go on a run, they go on a run. You go on a run, they go on a run. But there's a difference. You can tell which team has control, right? Like you'll see the Lakers, they'll go up, 12-2 or something like that. And then they'll give up a run and it's like a 6-0 run, 7-0 run. But you're like, Lakers are in control. They're fine. Like this was just a couple sequences. They'll right the ship. And then you see the Lakers pull away again, right? There's a difference between control and a team they're just going on a run. It's going to happen in the course of a game. Now, in a perfect world, this game's over in the fourth quarter. LeBron James, Anthony Davis get some rest, and we're getting ready to have that 4-day rest before we get into Memphis. But I do think that this is it's a playoff game. It's very likely going to be a grind, very grindy, very methodical, all kinds of things happening, just rock fight type of game. That's usually how it goes. But we got to do our job. We got to put our foot on the gas. Can't have that lethargic type of start where it just looks like they're not, like they're disinterested out there. We need to see that urgency. We need to see that sense. We need to see this team come out. Rudy being out is helpful, right? They actually are better without Rudy. But the fact that they don't have that interior defensive threat and the rebounding, which is why they went and got Rudy. The two things that were blatant holes for the Minnesota Timberwolves was rebounding and shot blocking. They didn't have either last year. That's why they went and got Rudy, because they were like, oh, that's a guy that can solve both of those things. So defensively, they're going to be terrible, or they should be. And we have the top defense. We need to play like it. We need to play like the top defensive team in the league, because they're not going to be able to stop us. They have nobody that can check Anthony Davis now. They don't have anybody that can check LeBron James now. Those two guys should feast in this game. This should be a game where they both get 30. And now I'm not saying that has to happen, right? If D'Lo comes out and he's balling and he's got 10 points in the first quarter, and Beasley's got 8 in the first quarter and he's shooting the lights out, and you got Austin Reeves killing. Like, I don't need LeBron James and Anthony Davis to score 30 each. I don't need AD to give us 30 and 15 and LeBron 38 and 8, unless they absolutely have to. But I don't want them to kind of just coast until it's like, okay, we need to turn it on. No, turn it on in the beginning, get established early. But if other guys have it going, then use them, utilize them. Find that balance rather than, it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like if Anthony Davis gives us 15 and 15 and we win out handily and it's just a start to finish type of blowout game, then fine. I don't care, right? I'd rather Anthony Davis not overexert himself and start killing himself to get a win that we should win regardless. Same thing with LeBron. If LeBron only has like 15, 6 and 6 and we win handily start to finish, then fine. If the role guys have came to play and they are killing it and they're enough to win this game, then I'm okay with that. But you can't wait till it's too late. Like that was the problem in the Clippers game, right? LeBron waited till it was too late and then decided to turn it on, and that was a problem. Like LeBron's got to pick and choose. LeBron, if he wants to let these guys get going early, fine. Get everyone else going early. But if Minnesota starts pulling away and they're up 7, 8 points, it's go time. Then, let's say you cut it to 2. Okay, then you can try again, get guys going. And then if, LeBron needs to be the guy that keeps it in range, right? Don't let it get too out of hand. That's what happened in the Clippers game. It got too out of hand and we couldn't catch up by the time we were able to lock in. But if you have LeBron just kind of scouting the situation and going, okay, all right, well, it's back and forth game. It's back and forth game. I'm just kind of coasting. Okay, here, let me go on a little run here. Here's 6 straight points. Now we're up 6. or 7 or whatever. Okay, a little back and forth. Here's another 6. Pick your spots. And I'm okay with that with Anthony Davis. Pick your spots, right? But if we need to establish early, then establish early. Allow the game to come to you. It's basketball. Let the game come to you. Let it unfold the way it needs to unfold. Just get the job done. Get the win. Go in, get your 4 days rest, and let's go handle business against Memphis, which is another good matchup because they don't have Steven Adams and they don't have Brandon Clark. So that's huge, again, for the Lakers. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? You excited for tomorrow? Are you not? Are you happy that Rudy's out? Are you not? Do you think that Rudy kind of hinders this team more? Which I've talked about in the past, that I think it does. So we'll see. See how it goes. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know.